Hello and welcome to the CodCast. I'm Chris.
And I'm Matt. So Chris, last time was a technical announcement, so it was me doing all the talking. This time it's going to be your turn because we are raising.
Yep, absolutely. My turn to eyeball the camera and say, look, this is what's going on. So those of you who have seen the announcements, last week we put out an announcement about a fully underwritten entitlement issue for 8.33 million, which is a bit of a mouthful. I'm going to talk about that structure in a second. First, I want to talk about the rationale. Now, the first ever CodCast was talking about the rationale for a raise, and that was best part of 18 months ago, maybe even 2 years. It was a while ago. So there's been a fair few of them since then, and so we want to do that again. I think it's one of the most difficult, I might say, unpleasant parts of my role, or our role, and it's always challenging, both in terms of workload and also just the stress and structure of it. So it's a really good opportunity to say, look, this is what we're doing and this is why we're doing it. We've been looking at raising for a while, and it's really simple. We are catalyst rich, but we weren't ready to roll. We really want to get on with the PFS. We'll talk about the work program in a second. And I was starting to get very nervous that we might be doing a raise at a price which was not even close to palatable for me. You don't need to be a mathematician to look at the sort of VWAP around 8.3 and say, what's a standard discount? And so this is a much better outcome, driven a lot by the huge success of the technical team and the work that we did. It's never easy with the timing, never. We never raise without a plan. We never raise without significant, I cannot tell you how much thought goes into these things. Thought, planning, lots of hard work, non-deal roadshows, lining things up, and they've just all lined up. It's a very brave person who says, you know what, I'm just going to let it run. Sometimes that's a wise thing, but I've seen that go very badly. The beautiful thing about an entitlements issue, and talk about the structure, is that all shareholders effectively get first priority. And that's really important to me. It's not the only way to raise. It's not always the most sensible way to raise. There are scenarios where placements are valid, but I do think this is the fairest. It is without a question, the hardest work. We've lost a few 15-hour days last week doing that prospectus, but prospectus has gone out. I am legally bound to say you must read the prospectus. Do not use this CodCast as a pure investment decision. This is supporting information, right? But the prospectus went out today. The forms will be with you. It opens a week tomorrow, a week on Tuesday. So again, I'll put the dates and things in a little subtitle, but they'll come. So the first process is you do the underwriting. That's effectively where you go to major shareholders. It's sophisticated institutional shareholders. And we've had really good support from instos this time, which is great because you can see the register maturing and advancing as we advance the project as well.
And we've seen some pretty huge support from existing shareholders, not just instos.
Absolutely, huge support from existing shareholders. That real leadership piece is so important. As the guys at Lewin always talk about, you need leadership and that drives the momentum, and that's what's really happened this time. So it's really good to see, as I say, the register maturing, strong, sophisticated existing shareholders and institutional support. But the first rights go to shareholders. So you effectively, if you hold shares, for every share you hold on Thursday night this week, you will have the right to buy one share for every 3 that you hold. For every 4 shares that you apply for in this or buy in this raise, you will then get one option at 15 cents, which is the free attaching option. Read the prospectus. It's relatively simple, but effectively for every 3 shares you hold, you get the right to buy one share at 10 cents. You get the first rights. And then the underwriters step in if everyone doesn't take up their full entitlement, which almost never happens. So that's, you'll bring in some new support along the way as well.
And I think you mentioned that you've had a couple of people emailing you wondering where their forms are, and just should be absolutely clear. Yeah. No one has a form yet. Nothing has started yet.
Yeah, totally normal. So you go into Halt, you do your book build, and then you do your prospectus, and then that's with ASIC for a week, and then the raise opens and the forms go to shareholders. So if you're, if you're registered for email communications, thank you, because it saves us a fortune, and it also means you're not at the mercy of AusPost delivery times. I've had a few where the forms are received after an offer closes. But you will receive your forms that way. So either via your registered email or via post if you're not registered for email communications. But yeah, it's about a month-long process. So it's not without risk. If the world falls over in that time, there's still some risk to it. But again, being fully underwritten and having really blue chip, high quality brokers involved, it does reduce some of that risk for us. And most importantly means, Matthew, that you're going to be able to get out in the field. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a busy 12 months. I mean, we've got the first step's obviously drilling.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been something we've been trying to get into the field for a long time to do the really big, large-scale drill program that we need to really feed the rest of the PFS program. I mean, step one, obviously, is we need to take some of that core, send it off for metallurgical variability, confirm absolutely what our flow sheet's going to look like and what our recovery is going to be at different parts of the ore body and different ore bodies for that matter. And then we also need to send some of that core off for geotechnical assessment, work out the physical properties of the rock, what amount of space can we put between our columns, how much will it support, really help optimize our mine plan.
Yeah, and that doesn't sound that exciting, but what it ultimately means is we might get more rock out of the ground and reduce some of the very conservative assumptions and, again, increase the value of the project.
Exactly right. I mean, and that's the key word. I mean, our geotechs, our mining engineers were very cautious, very conservative with their assumptions. In some ways, I think they were probably a little bit erring on that side a little bit too much. And once we get the data, if we can, say, take our spans and improve them by even 10 or 15%, that can have a real huge impact, a really significant impact on how much you actually get out of your resource and how much you have to leave in the ground.
And some people in our jobs, you can be quite tempted at times to be a little bit forceful with these assumptions, can't you? And if there's one thing I've learned over the years is don't fight your geotechnical engineers until you've done the work. Some people do it. I've seen it happen many, many times, but you're just storing up problems for the future. Exactly. So when they want to be conservative, let them be conservative. Get out there, do the work, and then you might have a very good day, and that's better than having a very bad day because you've made unreasonable assumptions up front.
Exactly right.
And again, this is not a case of see you in a year kind of thing. This is, there's the resource update, there's geotechnical, there's the mine re-optimisation, which is super exciting.
I'm actually... It sounds so nerdy, but I'm really looking forward to the mine re-optimisation.
Me too.
The main reason being because when we put out our last announcement, our last update to the economics, we didn't change the mine plan. We went with the same mine plan that we took forward when we built our flotation model, as it were, the previous assumptions around metallurgy. That almost certainly means that there are tons in that mine plan that shouldn't be there, that lose money under the new paradigm. But that also means there are probably tons that we left out that would make money. So once you get through and you clear out all those losing money tons and add in all the ones that are going to make you profit, there's really only upwards benefit. We cannot get less optimized than we are now.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that. It can really move your NPV significantly.
Everyone's obsessed with drilling. We did that CodCast talking about how actually PFS is moving through stages often drives share prices far more than drilling. But the reality is there are so many things you can do, and we're doing drilling as well, but there are so many things you can do that aren't drilling that will have a massive impact on the value of a project. At the end of the day, we're all trying to build a valuable project. Talking of which, the ultimate catalyst, a PFS. And that is going to take about 12 months.
That's the target,
There should be, I very much hope, you don't do a PFS and the next day it comes out and your share price reacts. There should be momentum along the way. But at the end of the day, I have sat in the boardrooms and on Teams calls with some of the big household names and groups. It's one thing I'm not afraid of is picking up the phone and going and meeting people. And it's usually, look, we like you, we like your project, we think your team's doing a great job. We really want to see a PFS. And the reason that these groups want to see a PFS, and we've seen this, go and watch the CodCast on how PFSs drive value. It's because it's really hard work, and nobody's really that mad keen to do it themselves, apart from idiots like us. But the big groups don't want to do it themselves. They want to see us get that stage, and that's where you see that big market difference, isn't it? I mean, you've been in some of these meetings as well.
It seems strange as someone coming from the technical side, not from the business side, that a lot of these companies would rather pay top dollar once the risk has been eliminated than get in early, get in cheap, and still have those risks, which might, fundamentally change the project, might devalue it. So it's strange, but it does seem to be how the industry works.
It does. And there are scoping studies. I've seen some absolute jokes, and I like to think what we did is very high quality. There are some areas which we have to address, which we can now address.
Absolutely.
So thank you for your support to let us do that, and we hope to reward that with real momentum over the next few months. Talking of valuations, I mean, the one thing I always say is you put our current economics, especially with the copper-silver based flow sheet, up against any of our peers, you will not be disappointed. And the main difference is most of them have been around an awful lot longer than us, and more advanced, and a lot have just been acquired. We just had some research done. So MST published research on us this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty exciting valuation, I thought.
Yeah, 46 cents.
46 cents. And again, this is not just taking our MPV and dividing it by the number of shares as an issue. You would get a much higher number, I'll tell you. This is looking at what the project actually looks like, having to build it and fund it and do it at a 10% discount rate and all of those difficult things.
Yeah, they did a lot of work. I mean, that 10% discount rate you mentioned isn't just pulled out of the air. I think they modeled the actual funding requirements based on a realistic debt equity ratio, and they did quite a lot of work. Yeah,
there's a complex formula called WACC, a weighted average cost of capital, for working out the discount rate. And, they've gone and done that work. These are industry leaders. We use them for a reason, because I've read their research on other companies and relied on them myself for my own investments. And again, if you don't know how research works, brokers will put out research. It can be very high quality, or it can be sort of quickly done. It's often done for people they want to have as clients. Sorry, I'm a cynic, but it's true. Not always, but often. Often it's done with more mature companies, like much larger producers. They all do it, and it's part of their work and part of the desk. But you can commission research, but this is independent. We did not know any of the information until it was made public. At no point did I have a conversation around that. We did get a very redacted fact check just to make sure we got the deposit names right and the resources.
Yeah, I think basic was the other numbers underlying the valuation correct, so that they could be confident in the accuracy of their calculations.
Yeah, exactly. But they do it off pure public information as well. It's effectively like having an expert go and review the project and say, look, this is what we think. And I thought it read pretty well.
Yeah, no, I was pretty happy to see the number.
Yeah, absolutely. And that can and often does improve as the market cap goes up, as weighted average cost of capital changes, as spot prices, as we do work on the project as well. And they will be covering us for, I think the minimum contract is 6 months. Would have thought that will get extended as well. So again, this just becomes part of sort of us being able to say, okay, here's some independent. We believe in what we've got, and we're very happy for someone to look at this seriously and provide that information. So we've talked about the raise. We've talked about the use of funds. So rarely has a use of funds been as easy to write as this time, because we knew exactly what we wanted to do.
Straight in the ground.
What else is happening in Coda and copper world?
Copper hit $10,000 today.
Did.
Just I think on the back of, well, I mean, obviously there's always short-term fluctuations, but it's the same fundamental story we've sat in these chairs and talked about many times before.
Yeah.
Demand is growing faster than supply, and it's starting to be reflected in prices.
Yeah, I mean, Benchmark Benchmark Minerals gave us something we're going to send out with this podcast as well, didn't they?
Yeah, it's they were really great about it. We asked them directly, is there anything we can send to shareholders to sort of help tell the story that we were so enthusiastic about? And they've sent us a pretty good piece of research about growing copper demand associated with the renewable energy transition and what that's going to mean quantitatively.
Yeah. There's a lot of demand, lack of exploration, China's grid renewed and all those things as well. So looks like the price is really rising around 2029, which should be good for Coda.
Is good for Coda, who's targeting 2029 for first, in another project you call first ore on ship, but I guess it'd be
First cathode on ship. Yeah, first cathode from plant. It doesn't ring quite so well. But no, it's exciting. We use 9260 in our study, and we're at 10,000. We use $38 an ounce for silver, and it's now 38.
30 for silver. It's now, I think it topped 40.
It's top 40. So wow, 25%, more than that, 33% increase.
Yeah,
maths boy here. That's a big increase. So again, if you are another copper junior, please put your price assumptions somewhere I can read them. It drives me mad when I read a study and I can't find them. It's something we do very, very clearly. So I like to think that's another bonus for Coda. But we're using assumptions materially below current spot and below what a lot of companies are using at the moment for their own studies. So again, that's a really good sign in my opinion.
It comes back to those conservative assumptions we were talking about before.
Yeah, exactly. Look, if you got this far, thank you. Questions on the raise or anything else, info@codaminerals.com. The documents will be with you shortly, and the prospectus is available online. Anything else from you, Matt?
No, that's me done.
Excellent. Thank you very much. I'm off to the Gold Coast tomorrow for the Resources Rising Stars conference.
Your favourite conference of the year.
That's always a vibe. As I've got 2 weeks before I head to Italy for the Taekwondo comp, I don't think I'll be partaking in conference hospitality, but the hotel has a good gym, so I'll be good. Thank you very much, everyone. On that note, I'll bid you a good day.